Bethesda Game Studios has been on a bit of a streak recently. Obviously, the whole Fallout 76 debacle is the most infamous, never-ending dumpster fire that Bethesda has probably ever had. Aside from that though, Bethesda has been on a bit of a slide in terms of quality. I personally found Fallout 4 to be a massively disappointing game that was lacking in so many features that made the previous titles so appealing to me. The game was a huge misfire on why I love the series, so it inspired me to make this video about 5 features or improvements I'd like to see for Fallout 5. Number 4. Please go back to the old speech system. Fallout 4's speech and dialogue checks have a lot in common with how I imagine aliens think humans talk. I was incredibly disappointed by this game's speech system because this is basically how I enjoy playing these games. I thoroughly enjoy being a slick-talking gunslinger because in reality I can barely stumble past a sentence if I don't rehearse it multiple times in my head. The real lack of consequences in your decision is another factor as to why I don't like Fallout 4's speech system. I mean, Bethesda has always been really bad at this specific thing because to them the choice between committing mass genocide or not doing that is a really hard, engaging decision. There were so many instances in Fallout 4 where I diffused a really heated situation just by passing one speech check. Alright, listen here, I'm gonna fucking shoot and kill everyone in this room unless I get 5 billion caps. Hey, maybe, you shouldn't do that. Might not be a good idea. Oh my god, you're so right. What was I even thinking? You know what? Here's 1 billion caps. Thank you so much. Oh wow, you've saved the city. You know what? You're the mayor now. Obviously this was played up for humor's sake, but every time I was in a situation involving dialogue with an evil person, 9 times out of 10 I'd be able to solve whatever issue was going on with just one speech check. Now I know that this is a strange complaint because most RPGs with this system have these scenarios, but Fallout 4's stick out because the writing is so exceptionally poor that these hot and cold characters are brutally exposed. What I want from Fallout 5 is a better dialogue system with some actual tough decisions or NPCs that are difficult or impossible to change in their ways. Because some people, no matter how good you are at talking, are incredibly difficult to persuade, and there's almost none of that resistance in Fallout 4. Also, please go back to the dialogue menu and not this stupid ass circle with really vague responses. I want to know what I'm going to say in response to something. Oh wait, I know why the dialogue options are like this, because if you remove the vagueness, you'll realize that these selections are only there to give you the illusion of choice. And most, if not all, the dialogue options in this game boil down to, yes, hell yeah, sure, but I'm gonna be a dick about it. And yes, but later. This wannabe Mass Effect vibe Fallout 4 went with is incredibly disappointing because it strips out the great progress that New Vegas made and replaces it with something that is far worse than the game it's copying.
If you're here to talk me into working on Liberty Prime, you can forget it.
What changed your mind?
Nothing changed my mind. I promised you I'd return to the Brotherhood, and I've kept my end of the bargain.
Do I need to remind you why you made that promise in the first place?
No, that won't be necessary. Tell Proctor Ingram to get her scribes ready. It's going to take a hell of a lot of work to get Liberty Prime back online, but we'll get it done.
Number 3. Give me some excitement in these quests. Years ago, when I first watched Mad Max Fury Road, I thought to myself, wow, I would just love if I could actually experience something like this in a video game. Whether it was a side quest or the main objective, I've always craved an incredibly exciting mission system in the Fallout series. As they are now, there's a whole lot of shooting, but there are no exciting chases, engaging mission design, or interesting set pieces to make the quest fun or cinematic. Now, I'm not saying that every quest has to be this all-exciting, big-budget movie, but the ones we do get in Fallout 4 are very limited. Like sure, there's that one quest with the broken down ship that ends in an exciting way, or the arrival of the Brotherhood is really cool too. But most quests are really just, hey, go here and clear this area out for me, or hey, go here and clear this area out for me, and grab something for me. And this is super boring, especially when you're expected to play this game for hundreds and hundreds of hours. It seems like Bethesda was really interested in filling this world with things to do, rather than focus on making the things you do interesting. You can quest in this game until the end times. There's thousands of miscellaneous tasks for you to do, and if you really enjoy the cycle of kill, loot, repeat, then more power to you. I'm just looking for more exciting scenarios. For example, defending a caravan through a shady part of the Boston Commons, or a murder mystery type scenario involving synths where you have to figure out who's a real person and who's not. Or maybe defending a large truck through the desert as you're being chased by a large caravan trying to get their cargo back. That's a totally original idea. The point is, I just want some excitement and variety in my shooting gallery RPG that's not just the same looping scenarios over and over again for 200 plus hours. Number 2, bring back skill points or revamp the whole system. I really wasn't the biggest fan of the leveling system in Fallout 4. I don't like the fact that they removed the level cap, so if you wanted to make your character this uber powerful god with all the perks and stats maxed, you could. Apologize for interrupting the video. I just wanted to interject with a quick editor's note that I didn't leave in the original script. I did say that you could level your character as many times as you wanted. There is no level cap. However, what I failed to mention was that it takes a very, very long time before you can unlock all the perks, and that in itself is a huge grind. You still can do it, and there is a lot of people that do hit that level cap, but I just want to say, to be fair to Fallout 4, it does take a very, very long time, and most people would just restart their character before grinding all the way to level 286. Because now things are so simplified that leveling just no longer feels rewarding. The removal of skill points in general was a huge blow to any kind of replayability because honestly, and I know this sounds weird, but without the limiting factor of building certain characters for certain runs, you kill the interest of starting a new game with a different build. Because now your character is amazing at everything. Melee combat, science guns, pistols, if you can kill someone with it, your character is great at it. This is especially damaging to a game with multiple endings. You want people to experience those different outcomes, right? So why kill off replayability by making the main progression system so simple? As it stands now, the perk chart is a nice thing to look at, but there aren't any interesting decisions to make. Because you know that eventually, if you grind enough, then you will never have to sacrifice anything about your character. And the lack of interesting perks also gets me. This is a problem I've had with the Fallout series for a long time now, but I hate that they never get creative or really wacky with the perks in the game like mods do. Like, am I supposed to take this game seriously or not? In terms of progression, what I'd like is the return of the level cap and skill points. I mean, don't make it ridiculously small like level 20 or something, but enough to where players can plan out their characters comfortably without feeling like they're trapped because of the incoming gap to their progress. Because as it is right now, I feel like things are way too simple and forgiving and therefore not interesting or fun. And at number 1, more player choice and freedom. In my opinion, Bethesda has a fundamental misunderstanding of why people love the original Fallout games and New Vegas. People aren't in love with Fallout because of Vault Boy, or their story, or the vault. It's not because of the Deathclaw or making things radioactive and spooky. It's because the original Fallout games gave its players the perfect way to roleplay and a way to live in these worlds without getting in the player's way. In the first Fallout game, you were just a vault dweller out on a quest to get a water chip for your vault. In Fallout New Vegas, you were a courier who took a crooked job that went wrong. And now in Fallout 3, you have a dad who was awesome, and now you gotta leave the vault and go find him, and your mom died before you were born. Fallout 4 is the worst offender of this because now you were a veteran of the war before the bombs fell. You have a wife or a husband and a baby named Sean. Now your main mission is to find your son. Sheesh. This wouldn't be that bad in any other game genre, but this is an open world RPG with tons of side things to do. It's kind of hilarious and narrative breaking when you have this all important time sensitive mission to go rescue your son before it's too late, and you go and do things that completely distract from the game's narrative, like help Nick out with cases or build up your settlements. It makes it awkward and badly paced when you get sidetracked from your main goal for 80 hours until you decide to do the main quest.
Give me back my son! Where is he? Where did you take him? I'll find you right here on this map. Oh, looks like I need some corn. Maybe I should plant a garden first before I look for my son. Yeah, then I'll cultivate it. Maybe a little lemons? Melons? Yeah. Ooh, what's over there? My son can wait.
To be completely fair to Fallout 4, you can argue that about the other game stories, but the ultimate point that I'm trying to make is that in Fallout New Vegas, you can easily project yourself into your character because the game doesn't give you this elaborate backstory that you didn't make up. It also doesn't help that now your character has a voice, which further disconnects the player from who they're supposed to be playing as, because I know for a fact I don't sound anything like a professional voice actor with terrible direction. In games like Mass Effect or Red Dead Redemption 2, having voice protagonists is fine because I'm playing as Commander Shepard or Arthur Morgan. I'm not playing as a custom character that I made for an open world RPG that's supposed to be me. It's like Bethesda wanted the best of both worlds but ended up with a really weird combination of the two that doesn't feel like it belongs in Fallout. Fallout is one of my favorite franchises in gaming. Its setting and humor are so attractive to me, and I'm really saddened by Fallout 4's shortcomings and changes to these formulas. These suggestions that I have probably won't be implemented because Bethesda seems stuck in their ways, and they want Fallout to be what they want it to be, and that's fine, I guess. The other Fallout games exist, and The Outer Worlds by Obsidian is a fine substitute for this experience I've been craving. After the whole Fallout 76 debacle, I'm going to be looking towards the next Fallout game with cautiousness. If it looks like Bethesda is going back to the direction I fell in love with, then yeah, I'll be a lot more open to giving it another shot. However, if they decide to go further into the action game genre with RPG elements direction, then it may be time for me to move on from the franchise and just look back at the older games with a sense of nostalgia.